It is 7 o'clock, and I'm going to call this meeting to order. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, council members, city officials, and our streaming audience. Welcome to the December 9, 2024 City Council regular meeting. We're meeting at 26 South Paint Street, Chiillicothe. Would the clerk please call the roll for attendance?
Thank you, President Shoemaker. Bennett.
Here.
Payne.
Here.
Nickerson. Barnes.
Here.
McKeever.
Here.
Dement.
Here.
Preston. Prohl.
Here.
Creed.
Here.
Ms. Preston and Ms. Nickerson both let me know that they would not be in attendance this evening. Is there a motion to excuse them? Motion by Ms. Payne, second by Mr. Prohl. The clerk will call the roll.
Bennett.
Yes.
Payne.
Yes.
Barnes.
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
Dement.
Yes.
Prohl.
Yes.
Creed.
Yes.
Would Mr. Prohl please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all.
The minutes from the November 25 regular meeting have been distributed. Are there any corrections, additions, or deletions? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes? Motion by Ms. Bennett, second by Mr. Barnes. Clerk will call the roll.
Bennett.
Yes.
Payne.
Yes.
Barnes.
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
Dement.
Yes.
Prohl.
Yes.
Creed.
Yes.
The minutes are approved.
Mr. President, at this time, I would like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss confidential information concerning an applicant for economic development assistance.
Is there a second to that motion? Second by Ms. Payne. The clerk will call the roll.
Bennett.
Yes.
Payne.
Yes.
Barnes.
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
Dement.
Yes.
Prohl.
Yes.
Creed.
Yes.
We are now in executive session. We'll return in just a few minutes. There's a discussion that has to take place in a confidential setting. So. Just so everybody understands, executive session by statute, you can go into executive session for certain things, but whatever was announced here, that's all that can be discussed in executive session. So it won't affect anything that anybody hears to talk about tonight. It's separately on that one specific thing. So once you move to go into executive session, that's all that can be discussed in confidentiality. They'll have to come back here. And in fact, any action that's ever taken, even if it's on something that was discussed in executive session, has to be done in public. So they can't go in and vote. Nobody can go in there and make decisions about anything. So I just wanted to give everybody that information so everybody understood what executive session is and what that looks like. I get one every 2 weeks up here. We're backing out of executive session, and now we're going to move to the reports of committees. Development Committee, Mr. Dement.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. Economic Development has nothing on tonight's agenda and nothing to report. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Engineering Committee, Mr. Barnes.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. Also, engineering has nothing on tonight's agenda, and we have nothing new to report.
Thank you. Finance and Technology, Mr. Prohl.
The Finance and Technology Committee has one item on tonight's agenda that we do need to address. It is item number 5, which is at first reading, an ordinance making the appropriation for current expenses and other expenditures for the City of Chiillicothe during the fiscal year beginning January 1st of 2025 and ending the 31st of December 31st of 2025. I need to make a motion to amend the budget that was included with this agenda. There was a slight change where we removed the word recycling truck because it had been left in. There was no intention to purchase this, but it was just moved in with whenever they were shifting the numbers around. So that has been removed and cleared up. And to make it more clear, I would ask that we please, I make a motion to please replace it with the amended version that you have in your hand tonight.
Second by Mr. Creed. Any further discussion? The clerk will call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Barnes,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Dement,
Yes.
Prohl,
Yes.
Creed.
Yes.
The proposed ordinance is amended. Is there anything further, Mr. Prohl?
That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Human Resources Committee, Ms. Payne.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. We did have a committee meeting earlier this evening on assignment 24-103, which is a chief of staff position. This position will oversee the Octangie improvements and manage the project from the city side. We are receiving the funds to hire this person for 2 years, so we will move forward with that. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Nickerson isn't here for Parks and Rec. Anyone on that committee have anything to report? Hearing nothing, we'll move on to the Safety Service Committee. Mr. Creed.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. We have one item on the agenda tonight, item number 7. It's the first reading ordinance appropriating $15,000 for repairs to the Chiillicothe Fire Department engine number 1 and declaring an emergency at the appropriate time. I'll ask the 3-read rule so that we can get that passed and then get that bill paid for. Do you want me to talk about the Facilities Committee at this time?
That'll work. We probably don't have a sufficient number to waive the 3-read because we're missing 2 council people.
7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. We've got 7.
We're good then.
Yeah.
As long as we're ready to go with that. But you can, if you want to do finance or I mean
Facilities.
the Facilities Committee now, that would be fine. Go
While
ahead
I'm
and report
talking.
that. Yeah.
So Facilities Committee, we met earlier to talk about looking at this facility, the one across the street, and different things throughout the city and talking about the things that we've already accomplished as far as the things that we're doing with the Armory, the Public Works building, which was the Pepsi building, upgrading that as well. So we're going to continue moving forward with that. We've made assignments to different members of council to gather more information, and we will meet again no later than January 13th to update information on that and keep moving forward at looking at how we address our facilities within the city. That concludes my report.
By the way, thanks for chairing that committee, and I thank everybody else on council who is a part of that committee, and I appreciate their efforts. So moving on, we'll go to the Utilities Committee. Mr. McKeever.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. Utilities has 2 items on the agenda tonight. Number 4, first reading for an ordinance appropriating $124,910 for utility department lines for budgeting purposes. And item number 6, which is the first reading for an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Chiillicothe, Ohio, to execute any and all documents in connection with granting an easement to the Ohio Power Company. That concludes my report.
Thank you. City Services Committee is Ms. Preston, but she is not here. Hearing no report, I will move on to the Community Affairs Committee. Ms. Bennett.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. We had a meeting before this, or council meeting night over nonprofit. We got a lot of progress done. We still got some more to work on. Tonight on the agenda, the second reading for the coordinates of the adult cannabis operators within the city of Chiillicothe. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. We'll move on now to reports of officials. Mayor Feeney.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. I think I missed this part of the report, but item 3, if we could, I'd request, I heard from the transit director, a request to waive the 3-read rule on that tonight to get information to ODOT in a timely fashion. I'd appreciate that. And I got to say, last council meeting, great turnout. Love to see the engagement. And I'm not gonna the moratorium request is not my committee assignment request, but I think as I read it, I feel like there's confusion on exactly like the purpose of it. And so as I read it, as I take it, it means no new places. And so I don't know. I think it might be helpful for us as a group to have sort of somebody's kind of explain to us what the actual outcome of this ordinance is, because get a lot of attention, and I'm not sure we're all on the same page, because I feel like I'm a little confused. So I just wanted to throw that out there because if I'm confused, and I've read a lot of ordinances, it might be causing other confusion. So I just want to put that out there that we might be able to get some clarity there. And then this is an exciting one. So a week from tonight, we have our second budget review session. Immediately following that, at 6 o'clock in the Armory, open house. I want to see everybody here at the Armory next Monday. We're going to get an open house with American Structure Point, who will have panels, answer questions about all the design stuff that will be happening in the park. So I think I mentioned a couple meetings ago, we had some questions with the state, some working on some clarity, and we'll be able to get those questions answered. So that's 6 o'clock. The special meeting, I think, is it 5? 5:30. So it should time out. I think it'll be presumably a quick meeting for the special meeting. Maybe we can get some hot chocolate and walk down there together, go to the Armory, and see sort of these plans for this project, because it has been a unique experience. This sort of accelerated rush to put in an application for a transformative project for the community, and then we got it, and we've been trying to figure out the details. So it's going to be an exciting time to put that in front of council, put that in front of the public, get some final comments. From there, what will happen is we will ask to accept the award, which was the $34.5 million, accept that money, and off to the races. Council has obviously already approved the contract with the construction manager at risk, and this is kind of like the final, everybody's seeing design elements and that sort of thing. So 6 o'clock, Monday, December 16th, immediately after the council meeting. American Structure Point will be here, and it should be, I think, an exciting night. And I'll stop there.
Thank you, Mayor.
I forgot to mention the law director and the auditor both passed on to me that they would not be able to be here tonight. The auditor just offered her comments on the amendment to the budget, which she agreed on. She said there was never an intention to appropriate money for the recycling truck. It was just a matter of showing that money reserved in the reserve fund. And then the law director told me that she would not be able to make it, but to report that she did not have a report. So that concludes my report.
You're doing triple duty tonight. That's pretty good. Next, we're going to move to audience participation. Any person wishing to address the council must first provide his or her name and address. Comments shall be limited to 5 minutes, and I'll give you a warning when there is 1 minute remaining. Now, I have the prerogative to set a total of 15 minutes, but I don't intend to try to keep anybody from speaking who wishes to speak. I will speak to what the mayor was saying. The ordinance, as I understand it, and perhaps what we need is some more clarity on the ordinance. It was not designed to affect operating facilities as long as they were presently operating within the law. It's not to close someplace down. But once again, we'll need clarity on that. But if anyone has any comments that they'd like to make on any subject, the mic is yours.
To remind myself to press the green button. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the council, Mayor Feeney, especially for your comments today. I have a couple of props. I'm not going to read all of these.
Need your name and address first. I'm sorry, even if you've been here.
Sure thing. I'm
no
sorry.
problem. Oh, that's
Pete,
okay. No problem.
Pete Stokian. I actually go by Liam. Address 7 Deer Path here in Chiillicothe. All of these books are written. This one here, written by Frank Luntz. Most of you will probably know who that is. This one here about power. Here's The Art of War. Here's Longfellow. This is one of the very first books I ever checked out of my first grade in-class library. They all have one thing in common. This one here, The Laws of Teamwork. Bottom line is we all have to live together. We all have to communicate together. And there has been some confusion. More importantly than that, I think that the ultimate goal is the engagement, right? I know if I speak for myself, I've never been to a council meeting in my life. I've only voted one time because I felt very disconnected. I felt like I couldn't reach those people who were making the decision. Apparently, we've found out that there's a way that we can actually affect some change and have a voice. So I'm going to invite every one of you to take the mayor up on his offer for next week. Come down, get your hot chocolate, come and see what's happening. We have to start getting engaged. I wrote a poem about 4 years ago, probably because the very first book I ever got was written by a poet. I'm going to read that. It's very brief. I called it Divided We Stand. That guy over there says, let's go right. That has to be right. That girl over there says, let's go left before there's nothing left. You went that way. I stayed right here. Kingdoms rise, kingdoms fall. That's the point of it all. Divide and conquer, winner takes all. Near pure waters I will stay. I will miss you, my dear. I know my terrain, ready for the coming store. My roots quenched with rain, my leaves are warm. Like a willow I will bend, strong as an oak till the end. Regarding whether or not we, as a group, restrict and consider new or not new establishments, I think the important thing to realize is that a moratorium by you folks, who we appreciate your time and your dedication, will not stop people from buying marijuana in Chiillicothe city limits. What it will do is it will send most of them back to alleys at 1 o'clock in the morning, disturbing the voters, making unsafe conditions. And so it seems to me, and I do have, linked, I said last year, 1997, I've been working with small businesses. If we want the tax revenue for the sales tax, we want the payroll tax from the employees, and we want safe environments for people to come in doing normal business hours, then I think that just accepting the fact that this has been voted on statewide, the community, a large support, nobody has come in and opposed this side of the story at this point in time. So apparently no one really cares except for the people that it may affect or has affected. So I just respectfully submit my comments, and again, let's all be here Monday. Let's start playing ball. Thank you. I'll
Thank
take
you.
my stuff with me.
Hi, I'm John Thacker, 990 Columbus Street, apartment 307 here in Chiillicothe. I'm going to have a change of direction, just briefly though. I was asked to inquire at City Council as to the concept of taxation without representation, specifically as to city employees who live outside the city and are required to pay income taxes to the city, but do not have a say in who is represented here. I can understand their concern because, boy, most people would like to have a little bit more in their pocket. What I don't know is if it's included in current collective bargaining where they might be able to change that, or if it's just the way things are done. I'm not knowledgeable enough about it to say, but I said I would probably have guts enough to go up and ask the mayor, who would probably be most knowledgeable about collective bargaining, as to can that be included in collective bargaining in some way so that city employees who live outside the city can at least not pay it if they don't have a vote in this, why not just not pay the tax?
I'd be happy to have you down to the office and explain how it works. Thanks, John.
Okay. And will that be, I'm sorry, at a different venue?
Yeah, just give me a call.
Okay, great. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I just have a few comments on the ordinance. Oh, I'm sorry, Beverly Wilkes. I always forget that. 156 Hanover Drive, Chiillicothe. Thank you. Okay. On the ordinance on the moratorium of the new marijuana dispensaries. First, I want to thank Councilmember Creed and Councilmember Bennett. Boy, I hope I got those names right. For trying, for explaining some additional things about the ordinance. As you noted that yes, indeed, the city would get some money back eventually from these dispensaries, correct?
There, out of the 10%, 36% is to go to the local communities. We're still trying to determine who that goes to, and none of that money has been dispersed yet. So we're not sure that we would get any of it,
Okay.
or we could get all of it. So we're still trying to learn
Still
that part of
working
it.
that out.
Yes. So we're still trying to learn that as well.
Okay. And you, Councilwoman Bennett, explained more about the process of the study that you would be doing to try to do the zoning right, which would be to go through the American structure point that they're doing the rezoning for the whole city. Okay, well, I still have concerns, and I understand you're trying to clarify the ordinance, but I think the ordinance as written probably needs to be rewritten just a little bit at least for two things. I think we need to say we will grandfather existing dispensaries as long as they stay in compliance with the law. My husband went in and did the one on Western and was very impressed with how well it was run. There wasn't a bunch of crowd around. It wasn't, loitering or anything like that. And then the other thing is the time frame, because what you've got is very open-ended. I know you say, well, it may not be a year. I don't know what the time frame is for the American Point structure rezoning of the whole city, and it's just going to get lost. And I don't know what the time frame is. Because what we're finding, to put the moratorium on, to do it right, you end up with some negatives on that. One study showed that there's about a 20% decrease in crime for communities that have the dispensaries because you don't have people as many going in at night in unsafe conditions and trying to buy something. And also, you don't know the quality of the product. It's possible that fentanyl is laced on illegal weed, although, the amount they haven't really figured out. And yes, you can use a little fentanyl strip and maybe find out whether it's laced or not. But this is, the product, the illicit product needs to get out, needs to be gone. We need to be able to provide what the law says, and that is the legal dispensaries with the better product. And so what we're doing is delaying and supporting the black market, which is harmful to the community. It is harmful to people. So I would like two changes. One is to grandfather existing facility as long as it remains in compliance. And the other is to set a time limit or not do it at all on this part that you want to do it right, because the law itself already says can't be 500 feet from the schools and the parks and the churches, etc. So I don't know whether a big study really needs to be done for that. I mean, it's going to be commercial zoned, I suppose. And I don't know enough about zoning to really speak on that.
You've got a minute left.
Pardon?
You've got a minute left.
I have a minute left.
Yes.
Thank you all for your service. Thank you. Thank you.
I must admit I didn't know it would work that well. I might do that more often.
I'm Donald Wilkes. I live at 156 Hanover Drive, and I'd like to commend some of the comments that the young lady that preceded me made. But also, I want to raise a couple of other issues. Specifically, and I've raised this before to council, that to me, this appears to be searching for a solution to a problem that doesn't exist, which is a waste of resources. Because I say it doesn't exist because the restrictions for locating these facilities have already been established in state law. And if one is proposed or opens contrary to that, it's within your power to shut it down. And then giving a moratorium on new facilities open creates several bigger problems for your local community that I'm not sure you've considered. One is you're restricting access, legal access to recreational cannabis. By doing that, you're basically inviting criminals into our municipality because the black market is going to thrive. The population is going to buy their cannabis where they can get it. If the one facility is too far from where they live, they'll find sources where they are. What does that do? That endangers the people in that area. It gives as they seek out buying, black market materials, their safety and health is jeopardized. They can get robbed, they can get raped, they can get otherwise maligned, bodily harm. And I don't think you want to put your population at risk when there are legal, safe alternatives for accessing cannabis already, and limiting the competition to access that would almost appear as if you're slowing things down to either allow the politicians here, which I can't believe that any of you would want to feather your own nest and establish your own resource with the funding backing to open your own facility, but one would ask, well, then why else would you want to slow it down when the restrictions are already established, unless you want to get in on the gravy train? Hurts your reputation, hurts the reputation of what the focus of this council is supposed to look at. The safety and health of your population, accessing black market materials. She mentioned that it can be counterfeit materials that have been enhanced with things like fentanyl, formaldehyde, veterinarian animal tranquilizers, all to increase the buzz of sub-quality materials so that the dealers that are now being encountered within the municipality can get more business. Hey, their stuff rocks. We don't have to worry about the controlled materials in a legal facility. We can get something, with a big bang over here. It also subjects the population to these criminal elements that are dealing illegal drugs not only for the cannabis, but for harder, addictive, possibly even like fentanyl can kill. And all that would be eliminated with allowing the normal competition for American business to proceed rather than imposing surreptitious regulations, which recent elections have tended away
You have a
from
minute
overly
left.
restrictive regulation. You're just imposing more red tape, it would seem to me. So don't subvert the constitutional amendment. The people have already spoken and approved this. The city would gain revenue. Obviously, we've talked about that. The municipality would gain revenue. Whether it's the county or the city, it's going to benefit the municipality. Don't limit competition.
Thank you.
My name's Melissa Comfort. I live outside in the county, but I own a commercial building at 295 East 2nd Street. And while you guys want to talk about all this safety and all that other stuff, everyone came out for the weed. I've owned that building for 3 years now. I came and addressed this council 2.5 years ago about how the drug addicts were down there telling me and my 10-year-old beautiful daughter there to suck dicks and all this other stuff, to where I would tell them I'd fight them in the middle of the street. No one ever wanted to fight. So they told me to come to the city council. I came here. You guys and your law director and the mayor that never answers the phone told me, call the police every single time. Call the police every single time. Stop telling these people you're going to fight them. Call the police every time. So I did that. Over 200 calls have been placed to your police department. Your police department's now mad at me for calling them, just like I told y'all they'd be, retaliating against me. My windows just got busted out by the shooting from the Wobbly Ghost. The 2 men were arrested for it. I was put on there because my windows busted out. I want my windows paid for. On the victim rights list, it said I can be told when they get arrested, when they get taken out of jail. They've been out of jail. Never was told they was arrested. Never told they was taken out of jail. I just want to be able to get my money from them. I don't care if you charge them or not. First of all. Second of all, Brian Howard just decided the other day he was going to tell me he was going to pull a strap out on me and shoot me. I got the police report in my purse right now. Sergeant Cody Moore lied in that police report. I never even got to speak to the primary officer because they're so mad at me, they're retaliating against me. The dispatcher, Phillips, she hangs up on me. It took me 4 months to get you guys to send an email for me to get the recording from Michael Short. That's pathetic. He lied and said Rob McGraw wasn't working there anymore. Then it ended up being true. Took 4 more months for me to get that. I called Circleville 3 days ago, got it the same day. There's some reason why they're using me and retaliating against me. Why don't somebody explain it to me? I'm right here in y'all's face. It's public knowledge who owns the building. It's my name. I don't care if YouTube's on this. I don't care who's on this. As soon as that officer walked up to me, Sergeant Cody Moore, hadn't even spoke to me, never already knew my name. How did he know my name? Is he going to say he ran my building? You can only get that information from the auditor's office. We're not stupid out here. People think because I'm poor that I'm unintelligent. That's going to come to an end. That guy menaced, said he was going to pull out a gun and shoot me. My daughter was sitting in the car. He ran over to the car, spit on the car and screaming, I'm going to kill you. First thing Sergeant Moore walks up to me and says, because I told him, go ahead and pull your gun out. I love to see it. I love to see it. And I'm standing my ground. We live in a stand your ground state on my own private property. My own private property. Taxes been paid all 3 years. Y'all got your cut. Where's my protection? Where's my daughter's protection? They ended up saying we was both disorderly. Now, I didn't care. Send me to jail. Last time I went to jail for disorderly, y'all's police force refused to send over the body camera footage. Dismissed. This guy walked right up to me, Cody Moore, and said, I said, does he got a strap on him? He said, no, ma'am, but he's got severe mental health issues. That's a HIPAA violation. I was diagnosed with bipolar or schizophrenic traits when I was 15. No drugs. Drugs didn't induce it. And I'm not out here spitting on people. I would love to be able to open my ice cream shop that I told you guys about 2 years ago. I can't get the variances I'm asking for. I never get allowed any codes. And they know I'm poor, so they want me to pay y'all's little inspector, pay y'all's little. I've already paid inspectors. I've already done all that stuff. They shot the windows out. They had to put a retainer wall behind the windows because they've been trying to knock the whole place down. They are in front of it. And I had to, you know what? When I first came here to y'all, it was because that's my private property. And your police force told me that I didn't have proper signage up on my building. So I said, what's the proper signage? The cop told me. I went and bought it the same day, put it up. Yoder, sergeant, told me 2 years ago my building was going to be a site-on-site building, which means any police officer that sees anybody on my property has the right to cite them, use their body camera footage, and I don't even have to go to court.
You have a minute left.
That's fine. And I don't even have to go to court. I've called over 200 times in 2 years, and y'all's officers ain't never seen one person sitting on the building. And I got pictures, still pictures of your police officers driving by with people sitting on my building. I have proof of it all. And I'm going to file a lawsuit. I'm sick of it. And my daughter did not deserve that. And if Brian Howard wasn't as mentally strung out as he is, he should sue y'all. Because it was a violation for that officer to walk up to me and tell me that he had mental health problems. And you guys know it. And Judge Eddie's been the one that's been releasing them without restoring them. Her time's over. Her time's over, and I'm having it audited why they're getting released without being restored. It's all the same names. Andrew McCutcheon, Brian Howard, they're all the same names. You see them charged, you see them in jail, then they're released. They're never restored, and they're right back out on the streets. You guys need to do something about it, or I'll make sure I start threatening some other folks.
If there's no more audience participation, we're going to move on to old business and responses. Hearing none, we'll move on to petitions and correspondence.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. I've not received anything.
Is there any new business to come before the council? Hearing none, we'll move on to the reading of ordinances and resolutions.
Just a moment. I would, under new business, sorry, I was making a note to trying to keep track. Under new business, I would like to ask or make a proposal for a motion that we not read item number 2 until we receive better answers as to the goals and the necessity of that piece of legislation. Seems like there's questions within the council, and I would just like that cleared up before it goes on to any farther down the road.
Is there a second to that motion? Second by Mr. DeMint. The clerk will call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Barnes,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Dement,
Yes.
Prohl,
Yes.
Creed.
Yes.
The ordinance would normally come up at the next regular council meeting, which would be 2 weeks from tonight. But if at that point you want to make it an indefinite, continuance, we could do that too. So nothing's going to happen for the next 2 weeks for sure, and a motion then to make it indefinite would move it out completely. So. Well, that shortened the list of ordinances and resolutions, so we always appreciate that. And we'll now turn to the ordinances and resolutions.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. We have 6 items on our agenda this evening being read and one that is being not read. And item number 1 is a third reading of a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a cooperative purchasing program with the Equalis Group and declaring an emergency.
Clerk will call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Barnes,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Dement,
Yes.
Prohl,
Yes.
Creed.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. The next resolution.
Item number 3 is the second reading of a resolution authorizing the filing of applications and proposals with the Ohio Department of Transportation for grants through the U.S. DOT Federal Transit Administration as authorized under federal transit laws as codified 49 U.S.C. Section 5311, formula grants for rural areas and the Ohio Transit Partnership Program grant, both in Ohio's Rural Transportation Program, and grants authorized under federal transit laws as codified 49 U.S. Section 5339, grants for buses and bus facilities transportation program, accepting such grants if awarded, executing a contract with ODOT upon project approval, and declaring an emergency.
President Shoemaker, I make a motion
Yes.
to waive the 3-read rule.
Is there a second? Second by Mr. Prohl. The clerk will call the roll relative to the waiver of the 3-read rule.
Bennett,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Barnes,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Dement,
Yes.
Prohl,
Yes.
Creed.
Yes.
3-read rule is waived. The clerk will call the roll relative to the ordinance.
Bennett,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Barnes, McKeever,
Yes.
Dement,
Yes.
Prohl,
Yes.
Creed.
Yes.
Ordinance is adopted. The next ordinance.
Item number 4 is the first reading of an ordinance appropriating $124,910 from Utilities Department lines for budgeting purposes.
Ordinance will move to the next agenda. Next ordinance.
Item number 5 is the first reading of an ordinance to make appropriation for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Chiillicothe, State of Ohio, during fiscal year beginning January 1, 2025 and ending December 31, 2025.
The ordinance will move to the next agenda. Next ordinance.
Item number 6 is the first reading of an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the City of Chiillicothe, Ohio, to execute any and all documents in connection with granting an easement to Ohio Power Company.
The ordinance will move to the next agenda. Next ordinance.
Item number 7 is the first reading of an ordinance appropriating $15,000 for repairs to Chiillicothe Fire Department Engine 1 and declaring an emergency.
President Shoemaker, I'd like to make a motion to waive the 3-read rule.
Is there a second? Second, Ms. Bennett. The clerk will call the roll relative to the waiver of the 3-read rule.
Bennett,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Barnes,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Dement,
Yes.
Prohl,
Yes.
Creed.
Yes.
The 3-read rule is waived. The clerk will call the roll relative to the ordinance.
Bennett,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Barnes,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Dement,
Yes.
Prohl,
Yes.
Creed.
Yes.
Ordinance is adopted. If there is no other business to come before council, I would accept a motion to adjourn. Ms. Bennett, second by Mr. Dement. The clerk will call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Barnes,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Dement,
Yes.
Prohl,
Yes.
Creed.
Yes.
We are adjourned. Thank you.